shepherd. None right now more positive. Yes, the Lord will bless me. That's why my verse not nasty. The devil tryna chase me, still it not gon' catch me. Because my family bless me. They all is armed and ready. Even if the world against me, the industry rejects me. My music still reflected the God who's sovereign mighty. Your style they copy plastic, and mine is so authentic. Because I'm in His will, and that is so majestic. Let me drop a freestyle now. It's time to go wild and the crowd go wild. I never get to speak on the mic without the Holy Spirit holding me tight. Let me drop a freestyle now. It's time to go wild and the crowd go wild. I never get to speak on the mic without the Holy Spirit holding me tight.
The name is Frenchy Rip. I remember walking to school in the Congo, flipping America. All I'm hearing, hey, that dude from the jungle. I was in the backseat praying to the Lord when my mama was crashed the car. My uncle double take like who's he? Haters gon' hate on loose sleep. I had a dream I was climbing the charts. When I got to the top, it was too steep. They said Jesus take the wheel, I let Jesus FSD. That's that full self driving. I'm in the spirit, I'm vibing. Open the word, I'm diving. Cause they could resort to violence when they letting them guns go off. We gon' kill them with silence. Lost some friends in the process of God making me righteous. I wasn't always like this. Now I'm a mirror of His likeness. True victim of kindness from the true healer of blindness.
Ephesians 6:14. Put on salvation as your helmet and take the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
The name is Tango Shepherd. None right now more positive. Yes, the Lord will bless me. That's why my verse not nasty. The devil tryna chase me, still it not gon' catch me. Because my family bless me. They all is armed and ready. Even if the world against me, the industry rejects me. My music still reflected the God who's sovereign mighty. Your style they copy plastic, and mine is so authentic. Because I'm in His will, and that is so majestic. Let me drop a freestyle now. It's time to go wild and the crowd go wild. I never get to speak on the mic without the Holy Spirit holding me tight. Let me drop a freestyle now. It's time to go wild and the crowd go wild. I never get to speak on the mic without the Holy Spirit holding me tight. The name is Tango Shepherd. Not right now more positive. Yes, the Lord will bless me. That's why my verse not nasty. The devil tryna chase me, still it not gon' catch me. Because my family bless me. They all is armed and ready. Even if the world against me, the industry rejects me. My music still reflecting the God who's sovereign mighty. Style they copy plastic, and mine is so authentic. Because I'm in His will, and that is so majestic.
Yeah, you know, you gotta get a little bit of music in you. And the way people get it today is just ain't it. I'll just tell you a little bit how that spirit got me feeling. Ha, here we go. Hey. Spirit got me feeling like I'm far.
All right. Let's go. Hey, welcome to Lofton Christian, guys. Listen, it's me, Frenchy Riff. But today, so I had to take a sip of that good old H2O from the Lord. I got a special interview coming up with a really just one of the most entertaining guys I've ever met, and that's going on to be a pastor very soon somewhere, and he's gonna bless a lot of people. And this was a great conversation we had. We had to record it earlier today because he works a job that requires him to pull these graveyard shifts. But I think he's probably watching this right now. So we recorded this earlier. It's my good buddy Gerald, phenomenal basketball player. Went to a Christian school. We had a great conversation around just Christian universities, right? What is it like to go to a Christian university? And he went to Liberty University, which is a very popular one for a lot of Christians that I know. I know kids at Liberty right now that graduated from our high school ministry at the church. So it's a school that, we're all familiar with. And if you're from the Palm Beaches, there's PBA just down the street here. But Christian universities have interesting cultures and just different ways and some things that, you may not even think about when you're choosing a school. So I thought this would have been a great conversation for a lot of uh, the people that follow this channel, a lot of young people that follow this channel, looking to, go to university one day. And hopefully if you go to a Christian one, Liberty is the one, PBA, there's a lot of schools, but you need to know what it's like. And I thought this conversation is going to be super beneficial. So that's coming up, the interview, Gerald. You don't want to miss that, guys. I'm telling you. By the way, he picked the hardest. Okay, first of all, he picked the hardest category for Locked In trivia. Every guest that comes on Locked In, they gotta get on the trivia. Who's on? Oh, Gerald. Gerald is on. Oh my gosh. Okay. Big shouts out, Gerald. But anyway, all the guests that show up to Locked In Christians have to do the trivia. Young, like the Joseph. Oh my gosh, who is that? Who is Salty Sideswipe? Okay. But anyway, guys, if you're a guest on Locked In, you're gonna have to do some trivia, Bible trivia. Gerald chose theology, and he chose the hardest level. And I'm telling you right now, it was very, it was very difficult, but I'm gonna let y'all see that for yourselves a little bit later. But anyway, welcome, guys. If you're new to Locked In Christian, you already know how we do it around here. We're the channel that tries to put God's presence on the YouTube, because there's 50,000 other channels that do not talk about the Lord, that don't have regular conversations with everyday people that are in the faith, and that went to university. Like, we just don't have these type of outlets, and this is what Locked In Christian is here fulfilling. So guys, you can always help us out supporting the channel, just showing up, watching, or sharing with somebody that you think would benefit from just seeing these kind of conversations, talking about the Lord on YouTube. That's a fantastic thing. But also, if you are trying to transition your music away from secular music, we have edifymusic.com. You can always check it out. You can download the songs on there. You can play it as a playlist. You can play while you work out, but it's Christian songs, different genres. You can find Afrobeat. Have you ever heard of Afrobeat Christian song? Well, if you haven't, go check it out. Lots of voices on there. Alexa Lynn's on there, Udoka, you got some Nigerian rappers. It's real fire stuff. So edifymusic.com, go and check that out. And again, today's episode, super excited about it, because guys, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to want to miss this interview. It was supposed to take 30 minutes, but man, the way we was chopping it up, it was just way too much fun. But guys, make sure you check in on the chat. We're going to be periodically checking who's getting the trivia right. Okay, we're going to be followed up with the trivia, because it was hard, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. I know I got a PlayStation controller right here that you can see visibly, but I promise you, I've not turned this thing on in Lord knows how long. It just sits there as a prop. It looks like a gamer is in town, but I promise you, I don't have the time. But anywho, without any further ado, guys, here's my good friend Gerald Lofton Jr. Super excited to have him on the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you chop it up on the chat. Keep the chat live. Here we go. Of Locked In Christian, if you guys check it out, I got the main man himself. I've been wanting to get this man on the show for a minute. But Gerald, welcome to Locked In Christian, man. How you feeling? Hey, there he is.
Glad to be here.
That's what's up, man. Really good to get a chance to talk to you. Like a lot of our viewers are young, high school, just kind of transitioning from that to college. So I thought Gerald would be a great person to talk to because he was at Christian, graduated from a Christian university. I spent one semester at a Christian university. We'll get to a little bit. We'll get to that later. But Gerald's going to give us kind of the inside perspective, and I think some good information for you to know if you're planning on attending a Christian university and things like that. And also, we're going to talk a little bit of hoops. Gerald is an absolute hooper, by the way. I think I played him. I think I lost. I can't remember. It's probably bad. It was probably ugly. It was, no, I think we played. No, we played it out. We played
it was at camp.
No, we played at Ray Ray's joint.
I thought we played. Okay, no, I do remember you playing at Ray Ray's, but I also remember you at camp because I remember Ray Ray's party.
I don't remember if I played at camp. I might have had an injury. I'm always injured, bro. That's after my soccer career. But anywho,
right.
So we're gonna talk a little bit of hoops, and we're gonna talk about CHH.
Right there.
Real yeah. I don't bring up soccer very often because a lot of people look at me like, "You play soccer, soccer," and I love how they say soccer. We're also gonna talk a little bit about CHH, Christian hip hop industry, because obviously that's the only music I'd be booming, and I know Gerald's a big fan of a lot of artists too. So we're gonna talk about that. So without any further ado, Gerald, let's just a little quick summary to the people. Tell them. Hey, a little bit about Gerald, and what you're doing with the ministry too. You got some stuff going on with the ministry. Right. So let that stuff flow. Let's go.
A little bit about me. All right, we starting from the beginning. Where we starting from?
I mean, if you want to, let's concise it, like your Chat GPT summarized.
Gerald. All right, boom, from Northern Virginia. And if you know me, you know I'm from Virginia. I probably say it all the time. Virginia. I'm on a silent kind of trek journey to name my daughter Virginia. Don't say nothing. Maybe a middle name. I'll settle for it. I'll settle for the middle name. I am like I've been Virginia for like generations. Like back during slave times. My family's in Virginia.
For real?
Yeah, actually. So that's it actually kind of shows how far like slavery is not that far away because my grandmother told me about how she would talk to her grandmother, who would tell her stories about her grandmother. So right now you could talk to somebody who's talked to a person who's spoken to a slave. I can put it up on right now. So that's a fun fact. But grew up in Northern Virginia, played basketball, man. Basketball was my thing. It was really, that's what I did day in, day out. I'll come home. I'll probably eat for like an hour, hang out, but then I'll go right to the park and play hoop with the bros, man. Some of the greatest times. Just it's good that I lived in like Virginia, Northern Virginia. I could like, it's a good environment. So I don't have to worry about being in trouble, rather not trouble, being in danger or anything. So I played basketball with all my time. But then I got saved. And I kept playing basketball, but after high school, I didn't want to play anymore, nor was I probably good enough to go D1 at that time.
I think you were, bro. I think you were.
I definitely wasn't. D2.
Hey, maybe it was your talent pool around there. Like everyone was just like really good, but if you'd have left that area, you'd probably been a superstar.
I'll give you something. Lynchburg, Virginia, where Liberty is. I would say the skill level is like a step down from like the DC area. The whole DC area, I honestly believe is probably one of the best areas for basketball.
Kevin Durant,
KD, Michael Beasley. Like you got lots of players who came out the DMV who are actually tough. Victor Oladipo's there. Akil Carr's from Baltimore, but that's not really DMV, but it's kind of DMV. People don't know about Akil Carr. People don't know about Akil Carr these days. Back in the day, you didn't even know the name. So back in the day, right, they used to call him the Crime Stopper because when his high school games, when his games would go on, crime rates in the city would go down because all the people were going to watch the game. I'm telling you,
hey, that's crazy.
He like 5'6", slaughtering. So like when I was coming up, maybe 11, 12, 13, 14, Akil Carr, from a short guy's perspective, because I was short back then. I wasn't 6'2" like I was now. I came into high school maybe 5'3". 90 pounds, 96 pounds, something like that. But anyway, played basketball, got saved, ended up just leaving basketball. If you would have maybe a D2 level basketball player, but at that point I didn't even want to play. And so I ended up making my way over to Liberty University, and I felt like a call to ministry. I can get into that if you want, but like long story short, I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was like, God, like. What reason is there for me to continue doing what I was doing? Because I didn't care about becoming a financial manager. I was just doing it for money. And so I was like, God, if you show me where you want me to go, show me what you want me to do, write it in the stars. I wrote it down in a book, and I said, write it in the stars, make it very clear. And so I asked everybody that I knew, all of my friends, anybody who just met me, like, what do you see me doing? in zero exaggeration, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 people said something pastor. Youth pastor, associate pastor, church planner, lead pastor, senior, whatever pastor, somebody said something like that. And so I ended up changing my major over, it was over quarantine. The final nail in the coffin was my man's Grant. I was on the phone with him, and he has a similar anointing. So I said, Grant, you ever thought about becoming like a pastor? And he was like, honestly, Russ, crazy, because I thought the same about you. And I was like, that's crazy. Right. And so he was like, at this point, you might as well just accept it. So at that point, I accepted it, changed my major to pastoral leadership right over COVID. Haven't looked back since. And right now I'm living in Florida, likely going to be moving back to Virginia sometime soon. That depends on how God moves his hands. But that's where we're at now, I guess.
Ooh, hey, listen, that's a good Chat GPT summary for real. That's good info. Listen, to have that clear vision is so helpful, right? It's like, it's like a weight off your shoulder, because a lot of us would chase. I mean, you'll do so many other things before you kind of like, all right, I feel very comfortable that the Spirit has been leading me this way this whole time. And that's amazing, man. Big shout out to all the people participating. You know, just hearing that voice from the Lord. All right, so let's get into it. You mentioned Liberty, and I know I recently just made the NCAA tournament. And listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a gambling man, but when it came time, I was like, I'm only I'm betting on the Lord.
Bro, you have to do like that, bro.
I'm betting on the Lord.
I think it's Oregon.
Hey, listen, I thought Liberty was gonna pull through. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
did you watch the game?
I saw portions of the beginning was good. And then it got ugly.
Well, it was ugly the entire time. They had one player, he was a light-skinned dude on Oregon. I can't remember his name, but he pulled out.
Hey, he was like, who he played?
It was like 2 to like 14 in the first like 5 minutes. Like that.
Hey, they said, who he played again, coach?
Nah, but listen.
Honestly, I looked at the resume and I was like, man, they were shooting threes. I was like, this might be one of those 5. I think it was a 5-13 matchup.
But listen, we're mid-major. You know what I mean? So anytime you come against a mid-major to like a power 5, I think they're Pacific, the 12. I can't remember.
Pac-12 is Oregon, right?
Like anytime you come against, that's just a disparity kind of in the talent pool that you're ready to bring, and that's in no way, shape, or form to come at the guys from Liberty. Some of the dudes I actually even know, but like Coach McKay, Coach Ritchie, he's a great coach. All the things that he's done for our program, so I'm not even gonna put him under the bus. It's just like it's gonna take us a little more.
It's not the first round that does it, but I was just happy to see, Christian schools up in there representing. All right. So you were at Liberty for solid, I think you said 3.5, because you did a
4 years.
4 years, but you did, yeah, okay. So first of all, what are your thoughts on, just a short, quick summary, what are your thoughts on like educating young Christians? Like, while you were at school, because essentially everyone that was there with you around the same age, being educated on this Christian education system. What are your thoughts on that system post-graduation?
So I heard a quote from one of my old professors, and it kind of reminds me, and whether or not this is true, I don't know, but I remember the quote that whatever you're doing in your 18th and 19th year, it's likely what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. And so in those formative time, your freshman and your sophomore year of college, that's like the time, not to say the rest of your life isn't time, but that is a very crucial moment in your life that you have to either sow seeds into your own life in your own way and the way you want to go, or follow Jesus and what he wants you to do for your life. I don't think it's by accident that story I told you earlier, when God called me to ministry, I was 19, and look at how that changed my trajectory from becoming a financial manager, because I wanted to do the money, to being in ministry. That's completely different trajectory that God had put me on at that age. And not that you can't use being a financial manager as your ministry, but it's not like a ministry job, more or less. So I would say being in a Christian education in that specific window is very crucial to your growth. Now, people can grow anywhere. God can use anything to grow. It's Genesis 50:20. That what the people, Joseph's brothers, meant for evil, God ended up meaning for good. So God can use whatever. I don't care if you go to the most, anti-Christian school, he could use that because maybe that is where you needed to grow. You know what I mean? Or maybe you go to a place like Liberty, which I called Christian Disney World when I was there. That's what it's like. Anything
that's a good quote.
Anything that you wanted as a young Christian, man, Liberty was having. Like I can't think of like a better place for young believers, for young Christians. I'm saying that. Wow. So anything that you could possibly think of, like you got your friends.
Yep.
Community is built into where you already live. Or if you live off campus, there's commuter shepherds. I know because I was one of them. So you have Christian community already there that you need to grow and people to push you. A lot of the people that I met in the Christian community, I still talk to this day. Many of the people. Some of the guys I met, one guy, I remember his name is Bradley. Me and him is one of my best friends. Me and him would be on the phone every single day talking about purity. Hey man, you good today? We're making sure that we were just fighting for purity with each other. We was fighting for to continue to the calling that God has in our lives. So I would say go into having a Christian education. I've talked about the community standpoint, but from an actual education plus community, being in that environment was very conducive to, I'd say, a lot of growth in me spiritually. And I would probably, I don't mean to sound prideful or arrogant, but I would say I was really in high school. I really was trying to follow Jesus. And I feel like Liberty, a lot of that just expedited everything.
Wow. Okay. That's a great way to put it. Did you feel while you were there and a little bit post your time at Liberty, did you feel well equipped to handle theological, like heavy questions about something like angels' existence, for example, or like eschatology? Once you graduated, did you feel like, wait, okay, I got a little grasp on this?
Well, I would say my case is a little bit different because for two reasons. Number one, my major was pastoral leadership. So me doing school was very like a lot of that degree is dedicated towards studying the Bible. I would say the whole thing really. And the parts that I wouldn't say is dedicated to studying the Bible is really talking about how to apply the scriptures in a family or a ministry standpoint. So a lot of my classes had to do with Bible education. That's not the case for regular students, people who aren't in the divinity school.
Okay.
So, I can't speak as much for students who are doing like business administration or finance or stuff like that. Yeah. What I can speak for is people who did like my type of major, and I would say, yes, you are equipped. That's the first reason. The second thing is, I would say a lot of my biblical knowledge didn't come from school. It didn't come from Liberty. That's kind of, I don't want to say self-taught, but a lot of the information I found on my own. Every single book, every single thing that I've done at Liberty, if I really wanted to dig and find it, I could find it on Amazon. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, all the books I got on Amazon. You can go read that and you can glean from it as much as you want. You get out what you put in. Or if you want to do something, a lot of times what I would do, and when I was in high school, I would literally search up college lectures of like stuff about the Bible, apologetics, or any like theological debates or something like that I could find on YouTube. And I would find it on YouTube, listen, and I would glean a lot of information. And then once you do that so much over it's been like 9 years, you do that over 9 years, a lot of the stuff that you learn, you start to hear more and more and more and more and more across many different platforms. So a lot of my biblical education or my aptitude to answer questions didn't come from Liberty. While at the same time, if I forgot all that education, I would say from a biblical standpoint, I would say Liberty does equip you with tools to really be able to be in the regular world. You know what I mean? To be in the regular place and and interact with regular people about the gospel. Like their motto is literally training champions for Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, and especially with the I don't want to say I know some of the administration, but I've been around. I've had dinners, lunches with people who are really like literally running the school, and they're serious about that.
Wow, that's good, because that's gonna prep you for what's next. If you know you as a guest on Lofton Christians, you're always gonna get a quiz, because we got the Bible trivia set up. So we're gonna do a couple of questions. We're not gonna do all 10 of them. We're gonna space them out so you get a little chance to ponder through. But don't worry. We already know for you, we're gonna go with the most difficult setting, okay? Because this is absolutely going to be detrimental for the viewers on the live today. All right, so here we go. This question did switch up on you. All right, so what is a filioque? Filioque. Am I saying that right? Filioque controversy. What's the filioque controversy about?
I don't think it's C. It's definitely not D. I'm gonna go with A. I'm gonna go with A.
All right,
hey, listen. I'm gonna be real with you.
Here we go. Hey, no judgment. No judgment. It's happening.
Listen, I'm like, bro, yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, listen, I told you these questions is not easy.
You picked the hardest one on biblical theology.
That was difficult. I'm not gonna lie.
Hardest one. These questions are difficult, bro.
Yeah, let's do one more and we'll jump back into the question. All right, here we go. Ooh, this is a big word.
I remember
it's a big word. All right, here we go. What is superlapsarianism?
It's if I'm not mistaken, it's C.
All right, I'll just read them out. The doctrine A, baptism by full immersion. B, the belief in Christ's physical return to earth. And then C, the view that God's decree of election occurred before the decree to permit the fall.
Yeah.
And then D, the view that salvation is available to all. We're going C.
I'm going C. If I'm wrong, I'm
lying. I feel C on this one. I feel C on this one. There we go. He's back on the board.
I remember talking about that back in school. I remember that.
He's back on the board. He's back on the board. There we go.
Oh, no. Give me some more. I want another question. Something, because I missed the first one.
Hey, we'll be back on it. Okay. So while we got the energy on the theology side. So I want to ask you, what from a educator's point of view, like the people that run Liberty University, for example. Okay, what do you think, at least what you grasp from your time there, would you consider the primary focus of getting a Christian-based education? Like, what do you think they are looking down and going, okay, what would be the primary focus for, freshmen coming in to Liberty?
What would be the primary focus?
Yeah, like, okay. What is it? Hey, Jesus Christ is Lord. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think they're like?
Yeah. So
they're honing down on.
They always come back to training champions for Christ. Always. So I would say primarily, because the primarily thing I think is double-sided. So it's a double-sided coin. There's one side of the coin that's trying to get you introduced to Jesus himself. Many of the people, although it's a Christian university, and that's true, I would probably say half of them, from what I can see, like I'm not God, so I can't see who is really saved and who's not. From what I can see, I would say probably half of them are kind of just either cultural Christians or just don't care. You get a good amount of people who do, but I'd say 50-60% of them, from what I can see, aren't really true believers. And I say that knowing that God, and hopefully God is like, actually, you're wrong. So I would say the number one is actually introducing the people to the true Jesus himself. Having a true intimate relationship with him on your own. And number two would be mobilizing you to be an effective gospel ambassador. And what they have a lot of, we had to do this thing called CSER, which is just really community service. And you had to do a certain amount of community service to actually graduate. So it's built into your degree, doing service. And a lot of people did it through different times, you had different avenues, a lot of places that you could serve. But one of the things was serve Lynchburg, and Lynchburg is the city that Liberty's in, and we would do different service projects, different things that are needed throughout the city.
Wow.
And so I know service is something that Liberty holds very, very, very close to the heart. And that's a Baptist origin thing, I can tell.
It is.
It's a very Baptist thing, but Liberty started as Liberty Baptist College. That's what it was called.
Wow.
I mean, Lynchburg Baptist College. It was either Liberty Baptist College. It was either Liberty Baptist College or Lynchburg Baptist.
I'm sure somebody's gonna fact check you somewhere.
Somebody's probably gonna fact check you.
Let's so
that first question.
Just stemming from that question alone, what is one thing you would add or subtract from Christian college or Christian university setup? Add or subtract, yeah.
Add or subtract. That's a good. What's something I would add? Oh man. Does more people count?
Yeah. Well, you want to like increase the amount of people there?
Here's the thing though. Like, I remember being at Liberty and thinking to myself, some of these people haven't lived in the real world. Like, these kids are homeschooled. These kids are homeschooled. These kids have been sheltered very, very well. I can tell their parents did a great job on you. So I would say I had some people who had some real life actual experiences, and that's not to the people can't help how their parents, brought them up. That they can't change that. It's just something I noticed. I mean, me and my friends were talking about the amount of people who I suspected were homeschooled at Liberty.
Hey, that's actually one of the reasons why I think a channel like this, or any other Christian channel that's kind of just having these type of conversations, is super important, because I don't even think in our own bubbles we realize that. And I was at university. I was at a secular university first, the University of North Carolina in Greensboro, and then I transferred to play soccer down at Southwestern Assemblies of God University down in Texas, just 20 minutes from Dallas. And that was one of the first things I picked up on. I was like, wait a minute. I'm coming from this like secular world. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm walking into like this shock world of people that I'm like, wait, how do you not? Wait, you don't really understand what this is? And no. And then they're like, oh no, I was homeschooled. And I was like, and I was trying to grasp like what that really meant. I'm like, wait, so you were just at home daily. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. So then I had to rewire myself to be able to have, a relationship with someone that kind of has been sheltered, sometimes you could say overly sheltered in a lot of ways, but I feel like, once you get to college, even at the Christian college, you still have to discover these social cues and these social aspects. And I thought it was interesting, even from like an athletic point of view. I'll be honest, just a full confessional, I was not the friendliest teammate, because I'm coming from this like Division I school, and then I'm going down to this Christian school is NAIA league. And I was just like, oh, like I was like, like I was angry if you like were struggling in training, or it happened. And I remember one of our teammates, his name's Sam. Big shout out to Sam, who I'm pretty sure is like a successful accountant somewhere. He was a smart dude, but
shout out Sam.
He was Sam was struggled in some of our training sessions, right? And I was not a big fan, right? At the time, it was like, oh, why? I used to yell things out like, Coach, why is he out here? Like out loud. You know what I mean? Like that's some things that, yeah, exactly.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
real main. Yeah. Real. Yeah. I was not.
Why is he out here is crazy.
It was the craziest stuff. I used to think about. I was like, well, I cannot believe I yelled something like that. But I did apologize. I did fix that whole thing. Once the Holy Spirit hit me and I realized what was happening, I was like, oh my gosh, God is like changing me, because I needed that change. Yeah, I didn't even have like and then my career ended shortly, like a year and a half after that. So God has got an interesting way of showing you that you're not all that. And so I'll yell stuff like that, and I'm like, man, what do you mean? Why is he not getting it? Why is he not getting it? It's find out also his background is not, it wasn't public school. initially it was one of those type of situations. So it's like, so we're clashing on, the different types of zones. So I think it's interesting that Christian universities have that different cultures. But speaking of culture, what was the culture like at Liberty? And generally, what would you say, you think that kind of culture is the average of most Christian schools around?
Liberty culture is very interesting. Liberty culture is very interesting. And the Liberty that I was at is probably different than the Liberty that anybody who's watching this podcast or anything could possibly like go to. So it was a completely different place because I was in a transition Liberty. I was there for Jerry Falwell Jr. I was there when he was wilding out, and I was there after he was there. So
wait, who is that?
So Jerry Falwell Jr. Sorry to name drop, but our old president.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't doing the greatest things behind scenes, and I actually got a chance to meet him once, and that's just how it was, and people found out about it, and he was he's gone. So and they had a guy in there who was really good, Dr. Prigo, was pretty cool, and now they got a new guy in there who, from what I've seen or what I've heard, really solid. And so I would say the culture, the ring by spring is a real thing, right? Like
hey, I was hoping we were gonna get to this.
No, that's real. Man,
okay.
I remember my first exposure to this.
Yeah,
was when it was my first semester there, and I was in the elevator with one of my friends, and we like the library is 3 floors, so we're going up to the 2nd floor. A girl gets on the elevator, and now we're going to the 3rd. And in that elevator ride, she shows us. She's like, "Hey, this is, mind you, this is my sophomore year of college. So I'm 19 years old. I'm even young for my year. And this girl is like a year younger. She's at least a year younger than me. Mm-hmm. And she was showing me pictures of her husband and her child, her newborn baby. So I remember thinking to myself, I'm really talking to an 18-year-old who is not only married, but has a whole child. You know what I mean? Which in the grand scheme of things, it's not crazy, but it's just like to be married and have a child. You would expect, you're not married and you have a child if you're going to have anything. But no, it's you're married and you have a child. So that, to me, I remember looking at my friend, and me and her had this face. I was like, no way, I'm actually talking to. But she was so happy to talk about her newborn baby. Baby was probably 4 months old. So likely she might have gotten married earlier. So that whole thing was like, wow, no way. So that read by spree thing is a part of the culture. That's one thing. To kind of go back to another question, I think I would get rid of it. Not because
you would get rid of that.
No, it's just like it's just like such a hyper focus for some people. Like, they don't feel like, from what I saw, you don't.
Perhaps a certain demographic.
Well, the certain demographic is the majority of people at Liberty anyway, so I can't even say anything about that.
That's true. That's most universities, to be fair.
Right. But you can't. I feel like some people were just like, I can't live a fulfilling life until I have somebody else. So from guy to guy, from girl to girl, just trying to search. Yeah. And I feel like that was probably, like, if I would be real, a stronghold, like what we would call a mindset that is pervasive throughout that place. So that was a part of the culture. And there's a lot of other good parts. Coffee, man. Like I did not grow up drinking coffee like that personally. When I got to Liberty, it was completely different. Coffee and coffee shops are where you go. If you want to ask a girl on a date, you don't say, come out to me on a date. You say, hey, let's go get coffee. And that would be sufficient to say, oh, this person is interested. So you go in, you hang out with your friends at coffee shops. You go on dates at coffee shops. If you're by yourself and you're doing your homework, you don't want to go to the library, you don't want to go to the mosque or the student union, or you want to go anywhere else, you go, let's go to a coffee shop. Let's go to this different place. And I've seen coffee shops come, and I've seen coffee shops go. Man, some of the places that I hung out aren't even there anymore. So coffee is such a serious part of, like.
You know where that came from, by the way?
I have no idea why.
Friends. You know the show Friends? You ever heard of show Friends?
I know Friends.
They pretty much hung out at a coffee shop every episode. So it created this coffee shop culture. It's really interesting rabbit hole to go down.
A lot of people watch Friends there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people watch Friends. Mind you, like I'm Black. I grew up in an African American family. You know, like Northern
Martin.
Yeah, so I'm Black. So a lot of the stuff kind of was a little bit of a culture shock to me. Coming to see just the amount of just pure, like, I don't say pure, but just the amount of just, how do I say it in a nice way? Like, in no way, shape, or form, in my diminishing white culture. A lot of it was just so white in the sense of like culturally speaking that I was just like, wow, y'all do things way differently, you know what I mean? And I'm doing things which for me is normal, but for you it's ghetto, and it's ghetto. So I'm like, bro, like it was very weird. So, man, like I said, coffee, huge part of the culture. Worship nights, the thing to do. So, like I said, you got half of the Liberty students who don't really care, don't really follow God, and you have the other half of the Liberty students who really do follow Jesus. And so, you like the cool thing to do on a Friday night, Saturday night would be a worship night. I've organized worship nights. I've organized Bible studies. I've ran worship nights. Every weekend you get to pick which worship night you want to go to rather than which party. Now you have both.
Right.
Which is what I say about Liberty. Like people are like, oh, Liberty is just a Christian university. I would say Liberty has both crowds. So you can go and party and do like the regular college lifestyle, and then you can you can like have that I really want to follow God. And you'll find a lot of people who really want to do that with you.
That's amazing. I think that's a great way to put it. I think you covered some of the really important questions that some people are going to have when they're, thinking about which school to go to. But let me ask you, we'll do one more question, then we'll do two more quiz. Let's see where you're at on the trivia. But
you're going to find doctoral low.
What? Yeah, they're doctoral. What were some of your expectations prior to Liberty that you felt like were not met post-graduation? This is
expectations about like what I would be prepared for.
Yeah, like you're like, oh man, I'm about to go to university, because we're all like in that senior year mind frame of high school. You're just like, you're having all these thoughts like, okay, what am I gonna be like? Or am I gonna, if I be cool on campus, am I be lame? Then you realize real quick when you get there, it's like, bro, don't nobody care. Right? Nobody care unless you're like the 5-star recruit that people know about. But other than that, you are
so
just
think about that at Liberty. This question kind of ties into the other question. I think about Liberty culture is that like this is how I know a lot of the people were homeschooled, because like if you would have dealt with this in high school, you'd be past this. But a lot of people, when I was there, didn't seem like they were past it. So instead of elevating the athletes, like the athletes have their own platform, like the football players, basketball players, you'll see them have their own platform.
Yeah.
But then what another group that doesn't exist at other colleges is the collective. And so the collective is there's students who lead worship, right? When I was there, they lead worship every Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, and Friday morning, right? So think about it. You're a 19-year-old, you can sing, you're probably some way decently attractive, and you're on stage in front of 9,000 students that are your age, who are all trying to get married, who are all looking at you every single week, week in, week out. So a lot of times people on the collective, when I saw other students put them on a pedestal. So that's something I came into live. That was another cultural thing that was just like, bro, why are y'all? We call it glazing now. We used to say something completely different back then, but we call it deriding, right? Y'all are like, it was like it felt like this.
Hey.
Like I said, it could be different because I know things have changed in the school. So, but when I was there, I was like, bro, all of you guys are like straight D riders in my head. And I wouldn't say that loud unless I was in my head, but y'all are like, what are y'all doing, bro? Like somebody would come up. I remember one of my mans, right? And it wasn't even that everybody on the collective came with a superiority complex. I think that did kind of happen for some people, but a lot of the people that I met and interacted with were actually just regular people, and then they got put on that pedestal. You know what I mean? But one of the guys, loved this guy to death. Him and me were really, really cool. And he's on the collective, and he's tall, man. So I remember going out to lunch with him. And we put our stuff down, and then we go to get whatever we wanted to eat and come back. And when we came back, on the note on a napkin was a note that said, "Hey, so and so, here's my number and my Instagram." And I was like, no way. So like just off the facts of just seeing this person, who they know who he is because he's on stage all the time. So that, like I said, it kind of ties into a little bit of the culture, just like
wow, right?
Yeah. But to answer your question about what is something I expected or rather didn't expect that happened? Or
no, what? Yeah, something you expected prior to, and then after graduation, you're like, wait, that didn't happen.
Man. Well, going to Liberty, you would expect to come out with a wife. Just to get that one out the way. It didn't happen.
It didn't
all right,
happen.
All right. I remember coming to my senior year, and I'm like, well, I'm probably having to accept she's not at Liberty. Something I also expected. Man, my expectations were different though, because when I got to Liberty, I almost immediately changed my major to pastoral leadership. So my story is a little bit different, because a lot of people right after graduation, after college, you'll go straight to some other job in your field. And that's not exactly what happened to me. The way I felt like the Lord was leading me was to come down to Florida and join a residency program. So there's alternate routes that you could have. You could either graduate your bachelor's and become like a youth pastor or something, or you could graduate with your bachelor's and then go straight into your master's. Or the route I took was I graduated with my bachelor's, and I felt like the Lord was leading me to get a regular job and join this residency program at the church that we're at right now. And that's what I did. So my expectation was a little bit different throughout college. So I can't say my expectation wasn't really met. You know what I mean? Because you expect, you finish college, get a job right out there, everything's good, and you start making money, start paying back your loans. That was my story. So I can't speak for everybody else.
Okay.
Specifically for me, that was the path God led me.
All right, that's fair. That's a fair, good answer. But let's see what your answers are like on this theological.
Well, you had other categories.
Oh no, we're not switching categories. We don't switch up. Once you make that decision, it's you and the Lord.
There's another one I saw that I actually was ever really interested in, bro.
Oh yeah, I for Lofton, we stick with the biblical. All right. So question 4, here we go. Actually, question 3. What is the theological concept of communicatio idiomatum? I mean, it's a lot of Latin going on, man. You know the word.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It's not something that'll be. This is.
Hey, you chose this hard one.
I did, but I did.
All right, here we go. What's it gonna be?
Nah, so I don't think it's C.
Okay.
The reason why
elimination.
It's not C because I remember the hypostatic union is Christ being divine and human at the same time. We call that hypostatic union. So I'm not sure if it's C, and watch it be C, but I don't think it's C. The verbal inspiration of Scripture, that is what I'm kind of like leaning toward. I would pick A, but kind of like the IDIO. I don't think that's the root word for the Latin version for church. That would be ecclesia. Well, that's the Greek rather. So I'm going with B. But
all right, here we go. Final answer.
Listen.
Final answer.
Oh, bro. I literally said that, bro. What did we see, bro? Oh my god.
Hey, all right, here we go. Next question. We can rebound. Next play. Coach. All right, this one seems a little more aggressive. What is perichoresis in Trinitarian theology? Wow. Holy moly. Whew.
Bro,
these questions is not letting up.
No, these are not questions that normal people ask.
These are not letting up.
Yeah, this is showing me that I need to go back to seminary.
Hey man, listen. Speaking of seminary, a boy's getting in August. So,
Okay.
what we got? What we got?
Um,
It's probably that first answer you always think of, and then
no,
you
well,
scratch
listen,
off.
here's the thing, guys. Scratched off last time. I learned my lesson. And okay, so A is possible church. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with C.
All right, here it is. Hey, he's back
Yeah.
on. He's back
Why am I
on
two
the
for two
board,
right now?
bro. You're you
But here's the
50%,
thing,
bro.
though.
You 50.
These questions are hard questions.
Hey, they're not easy. You should have went with the medium. The medium ones are doable. I think
I didn't know it was gonna be that hard.
I tested these. I was like, yeah, medium is for me. All right. So while we're on these difficult questions, now let me ask you. Where am I? Let me find my questionnaire. All right. So we talked about the culture. We talked about your expectations. And I think you kind of mentioned this a little bit about how Liberty focuses on being really sent out. Do you agree, or what is your perspective on should graduation from Christian colleges or Christian universities feel more like being sent out on mission versus being sent to secular workforce, which most of us end up?
Yeah. I would say the former. Definitely feeling like being sent out on mission. And that's just Matthew 28:19, actually. 28:18 and 19. Like Jesus says, all authority is given to me. And so I'm paraphrasing, go out and make disciples. Right. And so that as believers, let's just get Christian education out the way. As believers, wherever we go, we are sent to that place. We are sent to that location. And actually, if you go into like the Greek too, the way it kind of works out in the sentence, the way Jesus built that sentence wasn't just like go out and make disciples, as in like, go out on mission trips, which is good, or go out, random place and do that and then come back home. It's as you were going, as you were living your life, make disciples. So when I'm at my job, I'm making disciples. Or when I'm out playing basketball, I'm making disciples. Or if I'm playing video games and I'm on the mic with my guys or people I haven't even met before,
right?
What am I going to do? I'm talking to them about Jesus, and encouraging them to follow the Lord. So I would say for a Christian university, it should feel like lining up with the Christian commission by Christ to go out and make these disciples and go out and talk to people about the Lord and not just create converts, but like actually spend time with these people and bring them through the word, bring them alongside of you and teach them to obey all that Christ has done, along with you doing it yourself. So
amen to that. That I completely agree with that sentiment. I think we should always be looking to be sent out. Even churches we are in, sometimes we get super comfortable and the church gets comfortable, but we forget the set out part. We got to go out and continue the cycle of making disciples. So we're going to transition a little bit to talk about one of my favorite topics is the CHH Christian music industry, because it's off the chart right now. It's growing in a lot of ways. I'm seeing artists on tiny desks. I'm seeing them at all types of what are those, like Lollapalooza, all those places where Christian artists were
Rolling Loud. Wasn't that Miles?
Rolling Loud, yes, Rolling Loud. A lot of Christian artists were never invited to Rolling Loud, but that's happening now. And I assume there's probably a fan base of Christians that are normally at Rolling Loud, regardless of if there's a Christian artist or not. But before I ask you a few questions on that, I wanted to show you this video. And in this video of one of the rappers that I listen to pretty often is 1K Few, who is famously, I think, Lecrae's cousin.
He's older. I can tell you.
He's old. He's older.
I'm pretty sure he's not like this generation, but he's a little bit older than younger.
Yeah. So he had this video on his Twitter the other day, and I was like, man, this is an interesting video. So let's watch this video, and then we'll kind of talk about it afterwards. Let me find make sure my volume up. Okay, here we go. Mixer. Bam. Okay.
It's gonna say respect, can I just get a respect? I ain't gonna lie, I need that. I ain't tryna go that heat yet. Nowadays ain't no respect. Ain't no spit. And them lactose can't take my cheese. Never gonna lie, but ain't tricking me. Had to get somebody else. Pull up the lights, turn off real fast. Show out a lot, so it ain't gon' last. Show out a lot, boy, Ross go dash. Had to get somebody else. Right from the cops, then I went outside. Straight off the block, had to stack my cash. Straight off the break, had to hit look gas. I don't even care if they it's gonna say respect. Can I just get
All right, so that is 1K Few posted that on his Twitter account, and I was looking at it. I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, man, if I didn't know 1K Few was a Christian artist, I'd probably see that video as more like, you know, a secular music. So there's coming to this place where the line between secular artists and CHH artists is getting a little bit blurry in some areas. And I made a full video breakdown about this on the channel.
Yeah.
That it's actually one of our most popular videos for obvious reasons. And I'm always against the joining the secular music industry in the way that, you know, all the aspects that comes with that, right? Like that type of video where you have, you know, cars, 24-inch rims, necklaces. I understand. You and I both understand that it's cultural more than it is anything else, right? Because if you go if you go down to Atlanta, right, most the average person is going to have on a chain or something, whether Christian or not. They're going to have that kind of cultural indoctrination inside them. And so I'm wondering, you know, as people that listen to Christian music and CHH industry, do you see this as a transition that could lead to a dangerous place for CHH, or are we kind of, you know, making CHH more palatable for the average person?
Man, there's so many ways I could go with this. Number one, I think that Christian music, especially hip hop, needs to be understood in the context of what's going on in Christianity today.
Mm-hmm.
And Christianity today is not. It's becoming less and like you can't blend in as a true believer anymore. And what I mean by that is like, if you were really going to follow Christ and you're really going to live for God, it's very black and white at this point. There's no more gray. Like cultural Christianity isn't really as much of a thing anymore. What I've heard somebody say is Christians have lost home field advantage in America, right? And so now we're kind of coming into a culture who hasn't learned truly about Christ, and what true Christian life and the true following of Jesus looks like. So for me to hear a Christian artist sounding like a cultural artist, or I don't want to say culture, but like I guess secular would be sound like a secular artist, it don't really shake me as much. Because I know if he's truly a Christian artist, if he's truly Christian, like a true believer, there are going to be things that are going to be talked about that culture is not going to like. Culture is not going to be about marriage, gender. I want to bring politics into this. Maybe even stuff like what religion should I choose? Because it's told me you got to be accepting of all these different religions to be a decent person these days. So if you are truly a Christian believer, a truly believer, you're not going to be able to really walk in the way the secular world does. And that application to Christian artistry, I think, is going to be. If you're talking about God, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm not as much as the people get mad about, oh, you sound like culture. I mean, you sound like secular artists, this, and the third. I'm not really worried about that, because like I know a lot of Christian artists who might sound secular if you didn't like listen to him, but like I know he's a believer based on the body of his work. So that doesn't bother me. It's really what you're saying rather than like how you're saying it. I'll give you one example. There's one rapper I like, MTM Isaiah. Do you know him?
I heard him.
So he has a song. He has 2 songs that I know off the top of my head that are applicable to this question. One's called Kingdom and one's called King Jesus. If you listen to those songs, like the beat is like that Jersey beat, the doom 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 doom. That's a Jersey / New York song. I mean, sound, right? You would think of Ice Spice, kind of, right? But like, if you listen to what he's saying, it's all about God. It's all about the gospel. It's all about following Jesus and not following the world. It's all about the things that Jesus really would want us to be walking in, right? So I've heard people, when I show that song to people, oh man, he just sounds just like Ice Spice. I'm like, bro, first of all, I don't even think Ice Spice in of herself is creative enough to think of something like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Use the beats that were there. You know what I mean? Create any of that stuff. So why can't bro take it and put a Christian flow on what he's rapping? So I don't think that sounding like a secular artist really is that big of a deal. It's really what what are you talking about? How are you living as an actual believer?
Yeah.
And what are you representing? And are you willing to step out and represent?
Essentially, I think essentially what you're getting at is, what are the fruits?
Yeah.
Right. If that person is having fruits from his labor, from his work, then okay, you know what I mean? He's doing kingdom work.
You're right. I'm not mad at people. I'm not mad at him for sounding secular. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Where I draw the line, though, it comes down to the financials of how CHH and how secular music is essentially funded, right? Most artists are looking out for number one, because you kind of have to. You have, I speak to a lot of artists. I used to work with the Christian radio station, and I was interning. I was actually, editing a podcast for them. And I edited a lot of interviews with, there are all types of artists, you name them. And number one, for artists, they're always trying to, actually get more work, get more concerts, get on the road,
right.
Just to generate revenue, if this is how you make a living. And I had someone actually comment on our most popular video. This is one of the popular artists on Twitter, and came back at me. It was like, hey man, and I might show that that tweet on the live, but he was like, hey man, listen, I don't appreciate how you came at this thing. Some artists, like, this is how you make money, etc. And it had me thinking. I'm like, okay, if this is how we make money, how does the Bible look at, how we make money? It's God who provides, right? And I think about my own personal journey on the times where I was like trying to seek money. I actually never got any, but the times where I decided to just seek the Lord, it's like, forget about the money. That's when I actually started making some money. And I was like, well, yeah, I think it's God who provides. If you're a CHH artist, if you're preaching, if you're rapping essentially and saying, hey, it's God who provides, and then all of a sudden behind the scene, you're doing absolutely everything you can to, to make money, and following the secular pattern of hip hop rappers, which is, in some ways not very good to, to get on those kind of crazy contracts, or, just but there's a plethora of things that I kind of break down on another video. But I think that's where the line should be drawn. Like for me, I don't mind, like that video for 1K Few, because if you start looking into them, the more songs you listen to, you're like, oh, this is a Christian. Oh, turn off. If you're like a secular person, you'll be like, turn off. Or you're like, oh, I kind of like this. This is cool.
Right.
So I don't mind, the video or something like that. But for me, the line gets drawn at the finance part of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're trusting God to provide, then why does it matter when you release something, or how you go about, where you perform and stuff like that? So like, if somebody invites you to perform at the church, you're like, yeah, it's going to cost about 10 grand. You're like, well, that's interesting. It's like, God, how do you know if you would have gotten here, God would have gave you a 20K check? You know what I mean? Like you just don't know. And it's that trust, for me, is where it gets difficult, and where that line gets way too blurry. And I don't think it should be blurry. I think we should be 100% different from the secular industry in that way, because if you think about if all Christian artists started working together, like CHH rappers and stuff, they're like, hey man, there's no more gatekeeping. Let's get rid of that that concept. We're not taking like crap music. You know, we're not just taking anybody that wants to get on the beat, but it's like, you know, the talented guys, they're out there. Like a guy like Abel. I don't know if you heard Abel with 2 A's, like that absolute like rapper. You should check him out, by the way. One of my latest just favorite guys, like bar for bar, just so good, right? But it's like, if you think about, like, there should be no reason why he doesn't have a song with Lecrae, but the only reason why he does it is because, you know, he doesn't have the clout or the something like that. But I'm like, there shouldn't be no reason why. It's like, why can't Lecrae work with him? But it's like, there's a money gap. That's really what it is, right? It's like, well, Lecrae's not gonna go down here and help you make money. Like, oh, you're not helping him make money. So it's like, that's a secular music industry, you know, theme that we shouldn't have. And that's where I personally draw the line. How do you see just that quick issue before not too long?
Here's the thing, like, I don't see the music. When I'm on Spotify and I pull up Caleb Gordon, I think he dropped an album today.
Very good. Yeah.
Caleb Gordon. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to his music. Personally speaking, I'm not wondering, dang, man, would he do a song with so-and-so? How much money is he making from this? You know what I mean? I'm thinking of, oh, this is like a good song. He's talking about the Lord. I don't feel convicted listening to it because he's not pumping like devilish stuff in my ear.
Right.
I can rock with this. You know what I mean? So for me specifically, when it comes down to the financial, I can like, listen, I'm not saying that stuff might not be going on behind the scenes. You would probably know better than I would because you've worked in that industry. I haven't. So stuff could good and well be going on behind the scenes that isn't right. I wouldn't know. Now, ultimately, that's going to be the Lord. The Lord sees that. You know what I mean? If you're doing Christian music because, oh, this is the wave to ride and I can make some money off of it, and I guess I'm a Christian, so I'll throw some God stuff on here, and people are going to like it. And at the end of the day, when you're judged, your motive, your action is going to be looked at by God, and is that going to be acceptable before Him? And that's between you and God. But as far as it goes for the regular person like me, I can't get into like I call it counting change in God's pocket. You know what I mean? Seeing how much money God got. Like, I can't look at that and say, man, this guy should do it right because I don't know about his money. You know what I mean? I'm trying to work through my own sin. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm so good at fighting through my own sin. I don't really got as much time to say, oh my gosh, let's actually look through this man's actual, big statement, and let's make sure, are you doing it because honestly speaking, from what I've seen, like Lecrae, he's an OG at this point.
OG is.
He walked, so Caleb Gordon, Alex Jean, I mentioned MTM Isaiah, whoever you want to put in there, Holby, whoever you want to put in there can run. And I believe he's making lots of what he's made a lot of, because if you listen to Christian rap in like the 2005,
bro, that's
started, bro. Reading from the book of Romans, like, like
literally.
I remember one time I'm in a car, it's me and my man and another dude, and we're listening. He's listening to that old school Christian hip hop, and I'm like, I looked at bro. I said, bro, turn this off. Like, if I wanted to listen to a sermon, I'd pull up Phil Anthony Mitchell. I'll pull up, somebody. Yeah. I'll pull up a preacher. I'm not gonna. If I want to listen to Christian rap music,
I don't want to hear it from you. Hey, you know what's funny? There's a song with Lecrae and this guy named, one of my favorite Christian rappers ever, Dwayne Triumph. It's an English dude. I don't know if you ever heard the song "Don't Waste Your Life." It's one of Lecrae's probably most popular.
Don't Waste Your Life. Yes, I know that song.
I mean, they're literally in Roman.
Hey, listen, hard.
That song is hard. Yeah, that song is tough. That song is tough, but they're literally in Romans. They're in like Luke. They're just great. Yeah.
Whenever I see Luke 12:15 in my Bible, I instantly think about that song.
Hey, I mean, the way Dwayne Triumph was like cooking, I was like, good gosh, I'm like, it made me want to like go into the Bible. And I always thought from there, I was like, man, like Christian rap should make you want to like open the Bible and go, oh, what was that guy spitting? And I just thought that was super interesting. But anyway, let's finish up this quiz. You gotta
this thing again.
All right, let's finish up this quiz and let's see if we can. Let's see if let's see if Gerald can. You got 5 more. Here we go. We're gonna go through quick. We're gonna go through quickly on this one. Here we go. What is kenosis in Christology? Ooh. All right, here we go.
I'm going with C.
Kenosis. Ooh.
Oh my gosh! Listen, watch me the next one. I was the first.
Hey, you about to get this? Yeah, you about to get this one. What is the theological term for the study of the Holy Spirit?
It's pneumatology.
You said D?
I said D.
There we go. That's my boy. That's my boy. He's back. He's back on. What is that?
Divine and human in one person. That's C.
Oh boy, he's cooking now. He's cooking. He's on a fast track. He's on a fast track. He's not losing. What is the regulative principle of worship?
Oh gosh. Let me actually think. The relative principle of worship.
Regulative.
Yeah. Okay. Man. Sheesh, bro. See, listen, this is not something that my theology book taught me.
You got it. You got it. Go on. Best guess. Here we go.
Regulative principle. I mean, D literally has the word regulative in the word.
Ooh, final answer?
I mean, it's my best guess.
I think you're.
Yeah. I didn't know, bro. I didn't know
that worship should include only elements explicitly prescribed in the scripture. That's actually a good thing to know.
I'm not.
All right, what is monergism? 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 Am I saying that right? Monergism in soteriology. Soteriology.
Yeah, I remember soteriology.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, but I'm probably gonna get this one wrong.
You got it, bro. You got
probably gonna get it wrong. Well, mono literally means one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna get off A. Soteriology is the doctrine of like being saved.
Okay,
if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken. So I would probably say C. This is C because it's D.
Oh, it's the one you had. It's the one. It's always the one. All right, here we go. Last question. What is
infralapsarianism? Okay, I remember.
Okay. Infralapsarianism.
I forgot this one. Because supralapsarianism is like God already chose what was going to happen. Like it's already like planned out. Like nothing can be changed. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, so A, the view that God's degree of election occurred after the decree to permit the fall. The church replaces Israel in God's plan. I don't think that's right. Okay, I don't think it's D. Every single time I look at something and I say I don't think, it probably is, but I really don't think it's D. I'm thinking about A.
All right, here we go. Hey! All right, let's see that score. Let's see that score. Not bad. Hey, listen.
Okay, listen. Bring me back to something that I can actually listen.
Hey, listen. You're the first guest to do the difficult level. Okay, first of all, you're the first guest. Everyone else has gone medium, and they went for the easy route, but you went the hard route, and you got the best score so far. Okay, so we'll see. I got a worse score than that on that one. But anyway, last question. I know you're a big hooper, and most likely, do you follow a lot of Christian hoopers? Like, do you make it a thing when you see a hooper come out and proclaim their faith, which a lot of them have been doing, not just in basketball, but other sports as well. Mm-hmm. But do you almost become a fan of that person almost instantly? I feel like that happens to me all the time. It's like, man, this guy's a Christian.
Yeah.
Oh, supporting. You know what I mean? Like immediate, praying for.
I found out Brock Purdy was a believer. He's
what team is on?
He's on.
Okay.
He's on the 49ers.
Oh, okay. Let's stop. Yeah. Any hoopers?
Well, I was leading into the hooping part. I see Kyrie Irving has been my favorite player for years. It's been Kyrie Irving, LeBron, 1 and 2. And he's been wearing a lot of Christian clothing lately. I haven't seen him proclaim his faith, but like the Christian like Stay Clothing Company.
Mm-hmm.
Actually hooped with the guy who created that, and I've seen him in a lot of his clothes, and so I'm hoping he's a believer, to be honest. But as far as it goes for people who are like proclaiming their faith, I'm like, yeah, praise God. You know what I mean? Because now, like I said, either you're a believer now or you're not, because the line is getting drawn. You know what I mean? You either believe these things that culture believes or you don't. And if you don't, a lot of times, if you're a believer, they're probably going to say, oh, because you're a bigoted Christian. You know what I mean? So for somebody to come out and say, I'm a believer, I follow Jesus, you almost have at this point kind of like a social like you get deemed like lesser. What's a demerit almost?
Right.
Like your social credit score goes down low. In a way. So I haven't been watching. I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't been watching hoopers that say, "Oh, I believe in Jesus."
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say they believe in Jesus, but now there's an actual cost to saying, "I think you'll
real cost."
And really actually like walking into that.
Okay. That's what's up, Gerald. Listen, that was amazing, bro. That was a great time. It took a lot longer than we wanted, but hey, we were cruising. You didn't even notice an hour went by, but but hey, that was a fantastic time. I think there's a lot of just great info in there for a young Christian looking to not only go to a Christian university, but just to take some of that information in, just to build a nice picture of your expectations going into those places. And don't be a ring by spring type of dude, but but hey, listen, we gotta come back. We gotta come back for part 2 and dive into those little stereotypes, because we gotta come back on that one. But Gerald, any last words for the people? I know you got the ministry and stuff, so plug whatever you need to plug in for the people. Just the last little words before we close.
Oh, honestly speaking, I don't even have anything to plug. If you want to follow me on Instagram, go ahead. But I mean, honestly speaking, like I'm in a transition period. Okay. So
prayers can be coming your way.
Yeah. So I'm in a transition period. So I might be transitioning to a youth pastor position somewhere. I'm not gonna say where, but that's possible. Like that's on the table. Had a call today about that. I might be going back home to Virginia. I also might be doing some other things. I might be going back to school. You know what I mean? So there's a whole lot of things that are going on. Somebody yesterday said, "Oh, you should start posting on social media and asking these hard questions. Like you'd be good at that." You know what I mean? Clearly, I got 5 out of 10. So we'll see how good.
Oh, hey, man.
I was hard. Honestly speaking, that just makes me feel so terrible.
But it was hard.
So yeah, honestly, prayers. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's literally Gerald Lofton Jr.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Big ups. Make sure you hit him up, and we'll be praying for you, man, in this period that can seem like a lot of roads are opening up. We'll be praying for some clarity for you. Obviously, always praying for you, my brother. And hey, we appreciate you getting on and joining us, a Locked In Christian. Now back to the live show.
Just relying on my strength, I was like Samson. He gon' whisper in your soul, you gotta listen. It's some spirits in this room, I feel the tension. Armor of the Lord, no suspension. I was walking blindfolded through the valley, feeling empty like my faith was in the alley. But the shepherd never sleeps, he rallied angels. Prayers hit the throne, I'm out of danger. Just relying on my strength, I was like Samson. He gon' whisper in your soul, you gotta listen. It's some spirits in this room, I feel the tension. Armor of the Lord, no suspension. I was walking blindfolded through the valley, feeling empty like my faith was in the alley. But the shepherd never sleeps, he rallied angels. Prayers hit the throne, I'm out of danger. Just relying on my strength, I was like Samson. He gon' whisper in your soul, you gotta listen. It's some spirits in this room, I feel the tension. Armor of the Lord, no suspension. I was walking blindfolded through the valley, feeling empty like my faith was in the alley. But the shepherd never sleeps, he rallied angels. Prayers hit the throne, I'm out of danger.